I believe that gang stalking is while it's a real thing, and it might affect people in different ways, or it may even approach people or approach others differently. But the worst gang stalking that a person can experience is family involved gang stalking. I believe that that is the worst form of gang stalking is when your family gets involved, and it's probably been going on amongst the masses of the world in the world for a very long time. Because there's biblical stories where there was gang stalking involved, where they sent spies to Jesus. These stories, they predate us. They predate our existence. If the Bible been around for hundreds of years, or however long it's been around, there's stories in the book about gang stalking. But the worst form of gang stalking you can experience is that which involves your family. And I spoke about that before, in maybe a few years ago. Because God will tell you, this is what's going on. This is what's going on amongst your family. Your family's involved in this gang stalking. I told you I had two brothers, and one, I already speculated that he was involved in it because all of a sudden he started. He shared one of my videos when I was speaking about homelessness. He shared it to my mother and her husband, and as opposed to the video being received, it started to lose like traction. It started to just be swept under the rug. When you're being gang stalked, those that are around you, they do what you call the kiss of death. When Judas kissed Jesus, that was an indication that this is, so they'll like a post, and once they like the post, that post will become just a silent post. They silence that post. And you don't do it because you're seeking recognition. You do it because this is something that genuinely is an interest to you. So what I seen was one of my brothers share a homeless video, the video that I posted about homelessness and how the world can address that problem, but it doesn't. And they'll probably be prompted to whatever it is that any kind of wisdom that's within me, because I have a lot of stuff that you would probably not be able to experience because I'm reluctant on putting it out to be received by people that's only going to steal it. They're only going to take it and use it for themselves and use it selfishly, and it's not going to come with a genuine heart. It's not going to be sincere of why they share it. So this is something that I experienced in this reality, is people sharing things with insincerely. I see that. I see that amongst rappers and entertainers speaking on things, but without sincerity. So when I say things, this is something sincerely with that I feel that this is something that's been gifted to me. This feeling, the way that I feel is a gift to me, because I could feel the same way everybody else feels and seek validation amongst the world. But I'm already valid. I already have validation within something that is completely separated from that. I'm validated with God. If I wasn't, then I'd be seeking validation from something else. So that's another topic that you would have to expound on, because this is how worldly people become worldly. They seek validation from others, and whatever the world upholds as the standard, you will seek to appease that standard, and by all means you would do whatever it is to gain that validation from that. In fact, there was an interview that Cat Williams, they had it with Cat Williams, and I believe he won an Emmy. And the first thing that he said was he don't seek validation. See, some people get it and others don't. But when you do get it, do you separate yourself, or do you become an example for others to follow? See, one of the most important people in the book doesn't even have a book. One of the most important people in the Bible is Judas. Judas is one of the most important disciples. Why? Because he was an example of what not to be. And if it wasn't for Judas, there'll be no story, there'll be no Jesus. He was instrumental in fulfilling the prophecy of who Jesus is. But that's another story for another story. But my family knows that I was aware of their gang stalking, that they was gang stalking me. They're more than aware. And not only that, but my mother's a Christian. My mother knows that she knows that I know that they have been involved in certain things as far as what I've been experiencing in the program. And the police allowed me to know that your mother's involved in that. A dream, God revealed in a dream that I had that your mother is keeping you in a box. She's putting you in a box. Then my brother's girlfriend, who's an Eastern Star, told me that I see why your mother's having you watched. And she some people say things that out of when they're they just blurt things out, because when you're in organizations, when you're in cults or fraternities, you're just a regular person that sought validation. So you join. That doesn't mean that you're going to become a better person because you're in this organization. You're just in a organization that just exists because it has a purpose. But the more people that it can use, the stronger that it becomes. So she blurted that out at one point in time, and she allowed me to know that she was she was having me watched. So just recently my mother just got a lot of money. From where? I don't know. She's been waiting for a lawsuit, but I don't think that has anything to do with a lawsuit. And I believe that she's been getting other family members, like my nephew. My nephew asked me something that was real, that was, pertaining to God one time. And like I told you about my nephew, that he was baptized, and then he became a blood member, and he doesn't really, but what it was seeking information. They was information seeking. The same way, they sent spies to Jesus is the same way that, they can only send those that are amongst you to get information from you. So my nephew had asked me something one time, and right after he asked me, soon as he got out of my car, the police came and they locked him up. And he told me that as soon as I let him out of my vehicle, the police had came. So they was watching me. And, I know that I'm being watched. So they'll tell you online, especially on YouTube, that, they're watching you. Of course I know that they're watching me. They watch me everywhere I go. I'm that important. Something that I'm connected to is that important, which is the oneness of God. And we don't need anything outside of that. So this is the reason why I would share certain information that I see that is glorifying God, that doesn't take from God, that doesn't need any kind of acclaim outside of being associated with God. So whether it's, talking about or trying to downplay people or trying to bash and try to destroy characters, we're not about that. We're about the truth. We're about the truth. And we're about righteousness. We're about what's right, and no one's ever going to be completely 100% perfect. The only time you're perfect is when you're no longer here, because this world doesn't produce perfect. It doesn't. It doesn't. You know, if the world can have the Son of God come, and as opposed to them accepting and receiving him and giving him that type of, recognition, they seek to discredit or try to assassinate you. So a perfect world, there'll be none of that in the perfect world. In the perfect world. So this world doesn't produce perfect. It produces flaws, and it produces flawed people. So I don't expect my family to not be flawed. I know they're flawed because they are not like me. They are not, a child of God. They, like I said, I had a dream, and my grandmother, she knew that something was going on with my mother, and my mother placing certain things in my life that was to either distract me or try to throw me off of whatever it is that I'm here to do. And she knew that. My grandmother knew that. Because when she was talking about the girl, she told my mother, do not let her leave, because she was instrumental in me being being distracted from what I had to do. Me focusing on somebody's problem would leave this problem unaddressed. So I knew this about, what was going on. And recently, my brother has been up here. My other brother, who I spoke about, I said maybe he's not in the program because he's an honest person. To me, he was honest, always honest. But no, he has certain things that he likes. He has certain things that he would want to experience. He's I want to say he's a sex addict, and not he says that he's a sex addict, but he claims that it's because of his because he's a Scorpio, he's that passionate, he just want to have sex. No, but no, you'll do anything for that. And I seen somebody that calls himself a chosen one on here, saying that your own brother would do certain things because they like a certain person. A person would have them do certain things. So to get certain things, you would have to do certain other things to other people. And you can't put anything past people. That's the message of the story, even the family. And that hurts, being that it's your own family that would do it, and they would do it for selfish means. So that's why it's important to focus on who and what Jesus or Judas and Jesus' relationship was. It was the betrayal of something that you were supposed to hold dear, but you traded that for the financial gain, material gain, or whatever it is that you traded for. You traded. And, my daughter, everybody that's around me has been involved in it, and it has a certain source, and that source stems from, my mother. And you're not accusing her of anything, because you're that spiritually sound. You're that you pick up on spirits. I have a brother in Alabama, and I don't speak to him. I don't speak to him at all. And if he calls when I'm around her, she don't say anything like, yo, you want to speak to your brother? No, she knows that I know that it's something that they are capitalizing off of, because he got married, and him and his wife moved to this big house in Alabama. And where do they get this money from to have a big house in Alabama? You know, where do they go? Where do they get this money from? You didn't buy it. You didn't down payment. You didn't have a down payment on it. You didn't get it from any other way. But you know how you got it. I know how they got it. You know, and they got cameras and stuff in their homes because once you're in that program, you're going to have cameras in everything that's around you as well. You're going to be watched because you can't tell people what you're doing. You can't say, you watching my brother and you can't do that. You simply can't do that. And one of the things that God told me, there was this one female, and I knew that she was in cahoots. This is how real God is. God is real. If you don't understand how real God is, if you don't believe in God, okay. But where do we come from? How are you? How is humans? If there's no God that's above everything, then how come you exist? You could be anything else in the world, but you're human. You got this existence that how did this existence come about if there is no God, if there's no creator? Excuse my language, what the hell is this existence? But God is good and God is real. So it was this female that for years, I knew that she was involved in the program. And she was associated with the girl that, they put into my life. She was involved with her. But she was on the outskirts. Me and her was cool. But I started to see her places and was like, yo, she's in the program. And matter of fact, God told me that, she's in the program. And I said, hold on. Maybe she's working with my mother. Maybe she's working with my mother. So this was years ago. Now, this is crazy. Because it's the God honest truth, And I would see her at a store. Then I would see her walking up the street. I would see her in certain places. And while I'm seeing her, I know that she's watching me. She's watching me do she's watching me go places. She's watching what I do. She's watching, and not only that, but she's not a good person. The girl who they put into my life, she was as a teen, or I don't know how old she was, but for years she was having sex with the girl's father. This is the girl's friend was having sex with the girl's father for money. So this is the type of person she is. She's a person that does things for money, sexual things, and it doesn't matter if it's my friend's father, I'm still going to do it. So this is the character of the person. You're not talking about her. You're just giving you the actual, personality or the actual characteristic of the person. So I seen her a few weeks ago, and God was like, yeah, she's in that program. And I was like, okay. So she's not associated with my mother or my brother in any kind of way, in any form or any fashion. So the other day, I went to receive a package that I was waiting for from Temu. We all love Temu, from Temu. And in fact, this wasn't from Temu. This was a replacement headset that I was waiting for. And it came, but they didn't, and I knew that it was coming. I'm going to tell you about that too, because when I receive certain things and it goes to their address as opposed to them giving it to me, they would throw it away. I would not get it, you know. But that's another story for another story. So I received a package, and two packages came, and my mother didn't. She didn't know. She wasn't expecting it. So the package came, and I seen the package, and the package, one was my package, and the other package was for the girl. It was for the girl that was watching me. It was another package for her. So I seen that, and I said, you know what? I know, you know, that's the goodness of God. God will not leave you in the dark. They have no ever been associated with each other. I'm talking about ever been associated with each other to the point where, yeah, you could get something delivered to my address. You know, they never ever seen them amongst each other having a certain conversation. But yeah, when you are an actual child of God, God will not leave you in the dark. And this is why I tell you, religion doesn't solidify who you are in God. It only makes you a part of a religion. It doesn't make you a solid, spiritually connected person to that God. So this is the reason why we would have to reevaluate what it means to be in a religion and what it means to be amongst or a real child of God. Because why would God allow me to walk around here blind as a child, as a being that comes from God, and be subjected to the ways of the world when, you know, it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle in a dog-eat-dog world where it's been jealousy amongst brothers, and the story of Cain and Abel. It's been betrayal, and the story of Judas and Jesus, and it's been ongoing, just an ongoing, you know, a thing when it comes to betrayal and being subjected to, you know, selfish and self-centered and people with certain interests that's outside of or aligned with the will of God. And my brother, you know, he's been up here, and you know, he's been a part of the program himself. And what he calls himself is, what he says is that he's a millionaire in progress. So that once they achieve whatever it is that they're going to achieve, they're going to be millionaires. He didn't say, we're going to be millionaires. Yeah, I'm going to get on. I'm going to get this $1,000,000. I'm going to get, not million, multi-millionaire. He's going to be a multi-millionaire, you know, off of, for me, my understanding once he said that is that, you know, because he doesn't have any kind of skills that's going to bring in this, you know, multi-million-dollar. He doesn't have any kind of ideas. He doesn't have, I'm not speaking down about him. You know, I'm not, you know, even making fun of him. I just know what I know. He doesn't have it in him to bust moves to be a multi-millionaire. He's not a drug dealer. He doesn't have any business plans. He wants to make a coffee shop, but all that comes in after the betrayal. It's the same story with Judas and the Black Messiah. After you betray such and such and such and such, we will set you up with this gas station, you know. So, yeah, but that's what he calls it. He says that he's a millionaire in progress. He's going to be a millionaire. It's something that he's adamant about. And the only way that you can do that is by carrying out a certain task for a certain people. You know, if you're a threat to a certain people, then we offer you this because of that. And don't bother me. Don't bother me, because whatever God's will is, that's just what God's will is. And if you're here for, you know, the ride, then hey, buckle up. You know, you're just here for the ride. And you would think that the situation would get better and It doesn't. It doesn't. It's not for me, because I still experience what I experience. I still feel what I feel. And um, like I said, when I would go places, when I would go somewhere, he would go there. If I was walk past that house and go to the store, he would come out and start walking to the same store that I'm going. If I tell him I'm gonna be at the store, he would be in the store. If I tell them that I'm going to the store, they would be they you know you get it. You know, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't know. Yeah, yeah. There's what they call the Neuralink, and they said that this is coming from um, Elon Musk. But the Neuralink, all that stuff, been is real and it's spectacular. Like the Seinfeld episode is real. Um, they have a way to send you and give you certain instructions to do certain things. In fact, one time I was going to my mother's house and I was at the door and she was asking my brother, "Is he coming? He's coming? Is he coming?" Like they can see you, you know, wherever you're at. You know, they can see you wherever you're at, and it's through computers. Don't think it's them having a certain spiritual ability. It's them speaking or getting and receiving information electronically. And he didn't answer her. It's like, is he out there? Is he out there? Because there's a computer. They use the computers to watch all the cameras. And in fact, the computer broke. But what they didn't know is that God broke their computer. God shut their computer down because that was their means of watching and spying, because the girl came up and set the computer up because she's not really computer savvy. The other girl is computer savvy, the girlfriend of my brother. But when she came, she was setting the computer up. They made it seem as though she was using it to fill out job applications, but what God told me is that she was setting that computer up for them to spy on me. And their computer broke. And once their computer broke, I'm real computer savvy, so I fixed their computer for them. But knowing that their computer, that they're using that computer to spy on me, and I fixed it for them. I fixed it for them. But um, that's just the way I am. You even help those that are trying to destroy you. So with the girl, the girl, I told you in one of the videos that she needed to go into a drug program and to get the help that she needs in order to get off of the drugs and the alcohol. So I was able to be instrumental in getting her into a drug program, and she's getting the help that she needs right now. So, you know, you don't even your enemies you help. You even love your enemies. You even love those that are set up to take you down. You know, Christ didn't hate Judas, even though he knew Judas was the betrayer. He just said that, you know, as long as you bathe and you're clean. He told the disciples that everybody amongst them was clean except for one. One was unclean, and the unclean person is the one that can be used to betray you. So they're just unclean people. They're unclean spirits. And, you know, my mother's a deaconess. She's in a church. She's a Christian. But she's being instrumental in the gang stalking. So that's why I tell you, you can't trust these people that say that they're in these religions because, rappers bear crosses. And they're being instrumental in carrying out the works of the wicked. And in fact, I'm gonna get into that in um, another story. But I told I told y'all before that your families they're always going to be. used because they'll use those that are amongst you. Those that are amongst you can be the ones that they need to use to betray you. So you have to be mindful of your family, especially when you're actually who you are. You actually are who you say you are, because you'll be tested by or be confronted with temptation. And the devil can only tempt you. The devil really doesn't have any kind of control or any power over you. The devil can only tempt you with whatever it is that the heart desires. So with me, you being isolated, being sought out, and being spied on, your whole thing is to find somebody or something genuine. That's why I got my cat. My cat it doesn't have any personal interest that is outside of whatever it is that he wants. Cat just wants to eat and sleep and play. You have to play with your cat. If your cat is bored or acting kind of sick, then all you got to do is just play with them. They just want you to play with them. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all because it's something that you may experience, and maybe you may not. Maybe I'm just a one of a kind person, but this is something that I felt as though it's updated version because now my brother has a truck. They can give you a truck. They can give like a truck, like to run or to have your own business, give you a truck. So he has a truck now. But before that, he was working for UPS. And these are companies that they use to keep you employed. You know, you get top jobs and stuff like that or whatever, because my nephew was working there, but he didn't, really want to continue to work, so he turned back to the streets. But he was working at UPS, and my brother was working at UPS, and these are the types of jobs that if you do scratch our back, we scratch yours. And now, he has a trucking job. Before, he would work at certain companies, but he would crash their trucks. But I believe that now the truck that he has is his truck, and he and how you get that is through, your works with them. Yeah. And he had a house before, but he came straight from prison into a brand new home. And how he got that house, I don't know, because he doesn't have money. He doesn't have doesn't have any kind of money to buy a house. But he was married. He bought a house, and then he lost his house. And my other brother, he got married and bought a house. They got a house in Alabama. And my mother's just a recipient of, whatever it is that they pay out. And one time I came in a house and her and her husband was looking at caskets and stuff like that. And headstone, like planning somebody's funeral. And no one died around us, but I knew that it had something to do with me. They was planning something. They was planning and plotting to do something to me. And one day, my my mother and her husband was he was going to leave her. And she walked out. When he left, she went out and she told him something. And he came right back in. But what it was that, it had something to do with me. Like, you really want to leave? You understand what you do? No, y'all don't understand? You know? Yeah? No? Huh? Yeah. like he was going to leave her, but the interest that they have invested is more, it weighed more than whatever problem that they was confronted with. But like I told you, he passed away. My mother's husband passed away unexpectedly. Um, Other people that that was set up to poison me, they passed away unexpectedly. Um, People here that been spying on me, they lose their vision. Um, Computers that they use to spy on me breaks down. You know, you can't play with God's people. That's basically the message that I'm conveying. Don't play with God's people because we do know. Thank you. We do know. And family, family doesn't matter what it is that they're into, will violate you for personal interest. That's the message. Peace.